I often think about if I was to start all over again with zero trading dollars and $500, what would I do? How much would I put in each trade? When will I know it's time to size up? If you're anything like me, when I was just starting out, I had these exact questions. And I'm not talking about some theoretical BS like, just paper trade, bro. I'm talking about the exact playbook that would take me to the land of probability as fast as possible. Look, most of you watching this are already probably in one of these two situations. Either you're completely new to trading and you're tired of losing your hard-earned money, or you've already blown up a few accounts and you're sitting with whatever's left, wondering if you should even try again. I've been in both places more than I care to admit. The fear, the frustration, the sleepless nights after a bad trade. Look, I get it. Here's the brutal truth. When I first started trading, I made every single mistake you could possibly make. I overtraded like a maniac, I revenge traded after losses, I chased every setup I saw on Twitter, unless you follow me of course and know my system. And yeah, I blew up accounts too. I turned someone's salary into dust in just 1 week. It was painful, expensive, and honestly, pretty embarrassing. But here's what changed everything for me, and what I would change if I had to start over again. I approach it completely differently than 90% of traders do. And remember, 90% of traders fail. So should we really listen to them? Or listen to someone who's been in the trenches and has done what you want to accomplish? Before you think, well, Ellie, you know some secrets that I don't. Let me be clear about something. There's nothing that I do that's special or unique. So in this video, I'm going to walk you exactly how I would become a profitable trader if I had to start all over again. This is the Small Account Guide. The problem with becoming a profitable trader, there's complicated technology. There's certain brokerages where there's a bunch of buttons, you got to drag charts, and how do you add your indicators? How do you do this? Okay, well, you chart on TradingView, but do you trade on Webull? Right? There's so much different technology out there with hundreds of options and different customizable features that you just feel lost. Confusing terminology. What's an SL, a PT, a PDH, a PD low, a PML, a PMI, okay, an IFVG, okay? What is all that, right? There's so many different terminologies, and some terminologies describe things that others don't, and it just gets super confusing. The biggest thing I see is money focused, not process focused, okay? No one gets into trading because they love looking at charts, okay? If you do, you probably graduated from an art school. If you're like most of the people I talk to over DMs, okay, they want to make money. I want to make money now. I want to retire my family. I want to spend more time with my kids. I want to pay off debt, right? You are money focused. You are not process focus, okay? And this was a huge mistake, especially in my early years that I wanted to do. All I care about is putting up those big numbers month after month. I did not care about the process for me to get there, okay? This ties into my next point. It's get rich quick. Yo, Ellie, I only have $200. Give me a play, okay? So you're going to so what am I going to do? Message you a play and you're going to put your whole account in there, and if you double it, then what, okay? This is not a get-rich-quick game. If you want to gamble, there's tons of sports betting communities that you can go and put all your money in a parlay and hopefully get rich, okay? Wall Street was not built on parlays. Therefore, your trading career should also not be built on parlays. Next, no systematic progression, okay? It seems like a lot of these traders nowadays are just flying by the seat of their pants, okay? They don't really have a system. They don't know how much sides they're going to put on a trade. They're just like, well, this guy on Twitter's been pretty hot. So for him, I'm going to put in triple the size because the last play went double. So I want to make sure I want to capture it, right? That's not systematic progression. Again, that's no different than you being, well, you know, this guy on X, right, has been posting fire parlay. So I'm going to double my size for him, okay? There's zero bankroll management. You're just kind of guessing and you're gambling, okay? And lastly, and most importantly, is they never earn their seat at the table. So when I was a new trader, the big thing was PDT, right? So they didn't have cash accounts, where they weren't as popular as they are now. Like, no one knew what a cash account was until like 2021. Okay, so we all had PDT. So we had to earn our seat at the table, meaning we had to start with a small amount of money, turn it into a lot of money in order to get over PDT. You guys and the new traders don't have to worry about anymore with the popularization of cash accounts. Like, Robinhood didn't have cash accounts for the longest time. So most of us were trading small caps and gambling on earnings literally on Robinhood with the PDT rule. Okay, so that was earning our seat at the table. Now, to me, earning your seat at the table means you really have to put the time in. Okay, you really have to stack up that consistency. You need to have all of those things. Okay, one of my favorite quotes, okay, I tweeted this in October 28 and 2021, okay? This is before ICT had a Twitter account, okay? Trading quickly goes from you're just gambling to how did you get that to can you do that for me? Okay, and I made a video last week about 72% returns in 1 month. And oftentimes, especially in my trading career, this is extremely true, right? It's like, oh, you're just gambling. Okay, but now I've done this for so long, people see the life I live and how I'm able to, navigate through charts, we'll say, to keep it PG, right? It's now, can you do that for me? Everyone wants me to trade their money and all that kind of stuff, and I don't do that kind of stuff, okay? It quickly goes from you're just gambling to how'd you get that? Can you do that for me? So I think of this as stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. Okay, stage 3 is the end game. 2 is when you start to become profitable, and 1 is kind of that new trader. Okay, so let's talk about the profitable trader path. Okay, so when you first get into trading, right, it's understanding technology. What brokerage do you use? What buttons do what? You should click that button. You shouldn't click that button. Making sure your Webull Turbo Trader set up, all that kind of stuff. Okay, understanding terms, right? So if I write SL or PT or TP or PMH, like all those different types of terms, you should literally know what they are. It's just like learning a new language, okay? If you're a native English speaker and you want to learn Spanish, right, you have to understand some basic terminology. It's the same thing with trading, okay? If you talked about your SL and your PT to your wife who's never traded stocks, she's going to think you need to go to the loony bin, okay? Then you become process focused, okay? So it's okay, on this trade, I'm going to take 30 contracts instead of 20 contracts because it's an A+ setup at all-time highs, so therefore I can risk a little bit more. You're going to double the size, and you're going to make more just because of the daily chart setup, okay? Then you become process focused, okay? So the charts are dictating your size, not who's hot on Twitter. Systematic progression, okay? You don't go from trading 5 contracts to 50 contracts in 1 day. This takes years to get to this point, okay? You don't go from 1 to 5. I firmly believe that you have to take a 5-figure loss to have 5-figure green days. You have to take 6-figure losses to have 6-figure green days. Okay, it's just the way the market works. Okay, then you earn your seat at the table. Okay, you've been in the trenches, you've been talking to top traders. Okay, you're starting to trade some big boy size. Right now, you get your seat at the table. Okay, the doors start to open to you. And then lastly, what everyone wants is you finally get that MFing bag, okay? Bag achieved. New achievement unlocked. Okay, so in this video, we're going to talk about 3 things. We're going to solve the technology problem, okay? We're going to, especially for my older people, right? You didn't grow up, as an iPad kid like myself, so we got to first solve the technology problems, okay? You're not going to make money if you don't know what buttons to press. Then we're going to talk about systematic progression. And then we're going to talk about how to actually earn your seat at the table. And these are the 3 things that I would do if I had to start all over again. Okay, but before we do that, make sure you like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below of your favorite trading joke or your favorite setup. I don't know. Okay, but yeah, like and subscribe. As always, I love making these videos for you guys. All right, let's get into it. First thing, paper trading. Now, I alluded in the intro that paper trading is BS, okay? It's not that paper trading is BS. It's that paper trading, okay, the way you think of it is complete bullshit, okay? It's not going to help your trading. It's not, because you're doing it wrong. So let's talk about what you should be doing when it comes to paper trading, okay? The real purpose of paper trading, okay? Paper trading, if you didn't know, was actually invented to 1, test strategies, and 2, gain an understanding of how a platform works, okay? You want to be very comfortable. You should be able to use your brokerage you should know it like at the back of your hand. I was trying to think of a joke for there, but you should know it like the back of your hand. You should know the insides and outs, okay? You need to know what buttons do what, okay? You need to understand what buttons do what. You need to learn how to execute certain orders, whether we're talking about calls or puts, right? This also plays into, I should have put this on the slide here, the setups, okay? You should know your setups inside and out, your hotkeys. Some of you probably don't even know what hotkeys are, but yes, most of us traders are not trading on our phones, okay? Especially at an elite level. We have hotkeys, okay? Whether you're hitting Control B to buy or Control Shift S, okay? Right? All these hotkeys, that's how we're buying and selling all day. We're not sitting there on our phones manually, fumbling on our phones, okay? That's not how you trade. Hotkeys, in, out, super fast execution. Your screen setup, okay? For me, I have 4 monitors on my trading rig, okay? If you only have 1 monitor, how are you going to have your chart set up? Where are you going to have your brokerage? Like all those things, you really want to make sure you have that dialed in, because that's going to affect your process, where you're going to look right to execute, then back left to the chart, right? All of those things are important because speed is everything. And lastly, you want to get the feel for trading, okay? When most people come and they talk to me and I say you should start paper trading, right? It's more so get the feel for trading, okay? If you've never traded a SPY 0 day before, you should not put your hard-earned money into SPY 0 days. You need to get a feel for how they move, okay? When I talk about feel, it's more of getting in the rhythm, becoming a trader, right? Most of the time, these traders on Twitter be like, oh, just paper trading, blah, 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 blah. Yep, they don't tell you that this is actually what you're supposed to be doing when it comes to paper trading, okay? It's the same thing. This is practice, okay? It's practice trading. You need to get a practice, okay? If you want to hit three-pointers and make it to the league, okay, you're going to have to keep shooting those threes, okay? It's the same thing when it comes to trading. You're getting the feel for it, your hotkeys, your technique, right? How you can shoot the ball. Mind you, I don't play any sports, so I'm kind of talking out my ass here, but you get the idea. All right. Why? Why do you paper trade? Now imagine, right, you try to sell your contracts, okay? They're up 500%, and then you get an error message, okay? And you have real money on the line, okay? Because you somehow set up your brokerage wrong, and now you can't sell your contracts, okay? And they're at 500%. You would be pissed, okay? You'd be really, really upset. Now imagine this. You cannot sell your contract, and they're just losing money. They're down 50%, 60%, 70%, 80%, right? I've gotten hundreds of messages over the years where this has happened to people, where they're up a bunch of money, but they don't know how the brokerage works, and they can't sell. Okay, and they start panicking, and right, you don't want panic in the back of your head while you're trying to execute cool, calm, and collected. Okay, I've also had traders where they're down, 50, 60, 70% of position, but they can't sell because they don't have a cash account. Okay, you want to make sure that you have all these things in place, and you don't want to lose or make money off of errors. Okay, that was just a bad time. We call those in trading we take those. Okay, when they go our ways and it was an accident, but as a new trader, you don't want any of these things to happen to you because it can really mess up your mindset. Okay, you can give yourself a little bit of trading PTSD, and that's not what we're here to do. We're here to have fun, make money, and feed our families. Okay, so it's just like your friend Eddie who dropped out of college to become a DJ but listens to trash music. It doesn't make sense. Okay, we all have that friend who dropped out of college to go chase his dreams, we'll call it. Okay, and their dreams are complete BS. Okay, so you're going to come to the trading world and you want to trade 100, 200 contracts and be a big dog and sit at the big dog table, but you don't even know how to add VWAP to your charts. Okay, this doesn't make sense. You really need to make sure that you understand those basics so that way you can come play with the big dogs and you can come make some serious money. Next, systematic progression. Okay, what if I told you the best way to learn options is to not trade options? You're probably just exit out of this video. You're like, well, Ellie, you trade options, so why are you going to tell me not to trade options? Blah, 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 blah. If you actually listen to me for a sec, I'll explain it. Okay, so yes, the best way to learn how to trade options is not to trade options. Let me explain. Before you click off this video, follow along here, okay? Make sure you're paying attention because this is going to change everything for you when it comes to systematic progression. Okay, so we have this stock here, right? And we're like, yo, Ellie, I watched your Purple Profit video. I already know this is the entry. I'm like, oh, sick, great entry. And then, but you didn't sell the high a day. Why didn't you sell the high a day? You entered right here. You should have sold right here, but you didn't sell. Oh, wait, that's because you had a brokerage error. Oh, you didn't know how to, you don't have buying power, blah, blah, blah. All the errors you could possibly get. And now it's starting to break the EMA. What happens? You finally fix the error, and now you're out for a 65% loss. You would be going on mega tilt, especially if this was a 0 day. Okay? But let's just say you had 10 shares because you're a new trader. Okay? So you entered, right? Same position, right off the ADMA at the high of day. And then what happens? You got the error, same things, comes back down, and you stop out at 99. Okay? With 10 shares, you would have only lost $10, okay? But if we go back to your 65% loss, okay, on a $100 contract, just one, and most of you are greedy, especially if you have small accounts, so you're buying a lot more than that, especially if some guy alerted on Twitter, you're losing $65 a contract, okay? But now, because you watched the first part, okay, now you lost $10. You should trade 5 to 10 shares for a while before touching an option, okay? You should trade 5 to 10 shares, especially if you're brand new to trading. Just take 1 to 2 shares, okay? When do you finally graduate to options, okay? This is the systematic progression. This is what I wish I did. I'm telling you right now, if I was to trade mostly shares, okay, so I come from the small cap world, Okay, I didn't really trade a lot of, not so much day trade, large caps, okay, large cap shares until probably the last 2 years. I've really started to increase it, okay? This would have saved me so much time and frustration. You literally, I speak for this from the bottom of my heart, okay? So when to graduate to options, okay? You want a minimum 90-day track record of profitable trading, okay? Look, you're not going to make a lot of money trading shares, okay? You're not, okay? But you may make $500 in those 90 days, okay? That's pretty awesome. Imagine getting paid to learn, okay? Most people don't do that unless they work a corporate job, okay? All trade data, okay? You need to analyze all this trade data. Cough, you should be journaling, because there's so much valuable data where you're going to be able to find your tendencies, your mistakes you make, everything like that. This data is so valuable, okay? As I mentioned, okay, you're going to be able to eliminate, okay, any trading mistakes. You're going to be able to eliminate them. You're going to see them in your journal and like, hey, maybe I'm chasing the high a day, or maybe I'm chasing the low a day on the short, right? You're really going to be able to understand your mistakes and you're going to be able to fix them, okay? You're also going to be focused on the process, okay? So we already know if you trade shares, you're not going to make that much money, okay? Especially with 5 to 10 shares. That's great, because then every time you enter a trade, you're not going to be money focused. So you literally, all you care about is the process. It forces you to be process oriented versus money focused, okay? You're going to develop strong fundamentals, okay? Your trading fundamentals, you're going to be a killer. You're going to be an absolute ace, okay? And you're probably thinking like, Ellie, this is stupid, keep going on. But if you made this far and you're actually serious about making trading your career, this is the number one kicker, and that's why I put it last, because I want people who actually care to listen, okay? Your losses are not portfolio ruining with shares, okay? If a stock, you buy it 100, it goes to 99, you're going to lose $10, okay? Your tuition damage to your portfolio is minimal. I've seen time and time again, people come to the market with $20,000 and they start trading options and that account goes to zero. It's almost impossible, okay? If you were to buy Amazon stock tomorrow and day trade it, you buy 10 shares, what are the odds that Amazon goes to zero? Okay, the odds of Amazon going to zero in one day are pretty freaking slim, okay? Versus your Amazon 0 days on a Friday going to zero, 90% of options expire worthless. So you can do the math. So if you're serious about this, your losses are literally limited and your tuition damage is minimal, okay? Your market tuition that you're going to pay is going to be a tenth or less than versus if you were just a straight trading options off the bat, okay? Earning your seat at the table. So this is part 3, small account guide. Nope. A small account to me is anything under 5K, okay? Do not come to the market with your last $500 in your account and try to flip it into $1 million, okay? Just don't do that. It's not worth your time. Save up and come to the market when you have over $1,000 and you're ready to rock and roll, okay? All the times, I get a lot of college students that come to me. They have $500 saved and they want to double it. They blow all of their money and they never trade again. That should not be what you want to do. Your goal is you want to trade forever, okay? Not for a summer, okay? So to me, a small account is anything under 5K. And for most of these examples, I'm going to assume that's a $5,000 account and you can scale the numbers accordingly, okay? Ellie, I only have $400, but I want to flip that into 100K. Can you help me? The answer is no. Don't even bother asking me, okay? Again, I can recommend you some great sports picks, guys. Okay, so the 5K account strategy, okay? Your max position size, okay? Notice this is the max, okay? What does max mean? Okay, that means if you're turning the knob, it literally doesn't go any higher, okay? It's very key to know, okay? That's your max. It's as big as you can go. It's going to be $1,000, okay? On a 5K account. It's about 20% of your account in each trade, okay? But that's just total position size. That is not your stop loss, okay? Your max, remember, knob doesn't go any higher unless you want to snap that knob right off the stove, okay? Your max daily loss is $300, okay? If you're trading on tilt and you do not have a max daily loss, you need to have one, okay? There's some platforms out there that will literally, you can code it into it with a max daily loss. So for example, say you're down 20K on the day, it literally will lock you out of the portfolio and there's no way for you to undo it. Those are more advanced platforms. But again, you need to have a max daily loss when you're a new trader because tilt will ruin your port, okay? Your profit target daily is going to be about $200. So if you had 4 green days a week and 1 red day, you're going to make about $600 a week. Just for simplification purposes, your goal is about $500 a week, okay? Try not to focus on daily goals versus the whole week, okay? So daily goals are more so important when you're, a little bit more experienced in the game, but you really want to focus on week over week performance, and you really only check on Fridays, like, oh, how much did I make this week? Check on Fridays, and then you wire out so you can pay taxes, and also month over month performance, okay? Daily goals that need to be green every day, I've noticed, have ruined trader psyches, and they were just like, I can't be red? Oh, I'm just such a good trader. And then poof, they blow up and lose 30 bands in a day. Like, ooh, I probably should have stopped trading after 11. I'm like, yeah, you probably should have. Okay. And then at the end of this, your goal balance. Okay. Remember, process focused, not money focused. You're not like, oh, I got to flip this 5K to 10K as fast as possible. No. You want to follow this process as detailed as you can until the goal balance is 10K. And I'm going to explain to you why. Okay, so this is how you actually earn your seat at the table. You're going to take this 5K to 10K with a max. Okay, you're going to take this 5K to 10K with a max position size of $1,000. Okay, you're going to keep the sizing consistent. Okay, you're not going to size up because this, 1K and a million challenges you see on X are all bullshit. Okay, they're literally pumping and dumping you. Just stop. We're not doing that. Okay, 5K to 10K, process driven. Okay, and then once you take it to 10K, you're going to wire out $5,000. Okay, why? Because then you need to take the 5K to 10K again. Okay, and why do you do that? Because you're going to prove to yourself that it's not just a fluke. You didn't take the 5K to 10K off of 2 good lotto trades. Okay, because then you got to do it again to prove to yourself, to earn your seat at the table, to then you can double your size to $2,000. Okay, and that now is your max size. And this goes and goes and goes and goes until you get over PDT, and then we can talk more advanced strategies. You have to keep the sizing consistent. You cannot size up randomly because some guy on Twitter is hot right now, okay? That's not systematic sizing, okay? That's not actual real trading. Do you think in Wall Street they actually size up because a guy sitting next to him is hot right now? No, okay? That's not how it actually works. Next. Your goal focus, okay? You have a goal in mind of where you want to take your account. Instead of being, I need to be green every day, so you force a bunch of dumb trades and chop and blow your shit up, okay? Now you actually have a goalpost. You have a long-term vision. How are you going to get there? You're going to follow the systematic progression and the process, okay? You also have milestones for size increase. As I mentioned, okay, you cannot go from 1K sizing to 10K sizing overnight. Same thing if you're going to 1K to 2K. There's different levels of emotional control that you need to master in order to get to that next level. It's just like a video game, okay? Or in RuneScape, okay? You start off with some bronze armor. Then you find out bronze is trash. And then you get some iron. And then you get some black. And then you get some steel. And then mithril. Then adamant, rune. And then barrows, okay? It's the same thing, okay? But as you level up, the monsters become harder and harder to kill. It's the same thing when it comes to spending money on trading, okay? When your $1,000 position size, it's going to be different lessons than at 10K, okay? It's going to mess with your head. So you need to build that mental callus, okay? You're also going to develop sound bankroll habits. You're going to have a safety net, okay? If you wired out that 5K and paid yourself, you know in the back of your head, I got that 5K in the bank. I did that. I can easily do this again. It's going to help your psyche more than any flipping a small amount into a lot of money. Okay? Last thing I'll say about these small account things I see is people flip a little bit of money into a lot of money and they lose it all every single time. Okay? I've seen traders turn $5,000 into over $500,000 and they blew it all and they're nowhere to exist on Twitter. I'm telling you, I've seen it. Don't be that person because when fast money comes, it goes. But if you slug out in the trenches for 6 months, okay, with a 5K account, that money's not going to go anywhere. You're going to be here next year and the year after that, and you're going to make more and more money. Okay? Dedicate the next 6 months to this and everything will change. Everything we talked about, okay? Just dedicate, okay, the next 6 months to it. Lastly, we covered how to avoid technology and terminology problems, okay, by paper trading, using a getting your feet wet technique, right? So slowly getting the shares, getting a feel for it, analyzing that data, okay? The systematic approach to trading, how we're going to size up, okay? We completely deleted the money focused mentality, okay? Control, delete, into the trash, behind the barn, okay? And lastly, we talked about earning your seat via proper scaling. Okay, that is all when it comes to small account guide. That is everything I wanted to cover today. I hope you have a wonderful evening. I hope you enjoyed this video.